Welcome to Frontline, a part of the program that we dedicate to people who are working in the front lines and people who are putting their own lives at risk for all of us. The Ghana Health Service says it is planning to engage the services of security personnel to protect the lives of COVID-19 contact tracers. Some of them have been telling JoyNews their life is sometimes threatened by persons they're supposed to be taking samples from in some communities. Speaking exclusively to JoyNews, head of the contact tracing team at the Nima General Hospital, Naomi Edu, said she sometimes fears for her life due to the responses she receives when she calls persons for testing. She's been speaking to Sarah Mensah.
It has been very hectic and very difficult for people to understand that indeed I'm not sick. We had a situation where we had to involve the military, the police to help us convey people from their homes to the treatment center. People even went ahead to threaten us. Now, when they come back from the treatment center, they are coming to sue us, they are coming to do this to us, so many things to us, but we're just focused on what we are actually doing. People are now no more owning up even when they tested positive. They don't want to own up again. You call the person, your results is in, and then I have to see you to break the news, to tell you how your status after the test. And I'm like, the person is like, I don't need it anymore. You can take your results. I'm not sick. Don't call this line again. The next time you call this line, I will look for you and then kill you. They threaten you, at least tell you things that will make you very scary.
Of that woman. Well, another issue that the health officials who are handling COVID-19 related cases face is the resistance of some residents in the Ayawaso North constituency to allow themselves to undergo a second test for COVID-19. Municipal Health Director Dr. Sophia Quist revealed that some of those residents who are in self-isolation at home are actually refusing to allow themselves to be tested twice.
Currently, Mamobi or Ayawaso North has quite a number of cases in the municipality, and it's been a successful situation. But then currently our challenges are that when we have the cases and we want to do a retest to ascertain whether they have recovered, is now a big challenge for us. They are refusing us entry. They are not allowing us to take the second and the third test to make sure that they have recovered. When we get to the community, they refuse anything we say because they feel once we've given them the first test, there's no need for the second and the third test.
These were persons who had tested positive and are in the community. Did they go on self-isolation? Did you monitor that?
These are the ones whom we have assigned as home-based care, and therefore we call them daily. We go to their homes to check on them daily. And so when they surpass the 2 weeks, and then we go back to do their first test to ascertain whether they have recovered. Then the second test will now give them the final recovery stage. So these are those who we have assigned as home-based, and we have assessed their situation, their home situation, and realized that they can do the isolation in their homes. Yeah.
So how come you don't find them? What happens? Do they run away?
They don't run away. For some have traveled. Because the lockdown was lifted, some have traveled. For those who are in their homes, when we get there, they lock the door, they don't allow us entry. And then even for those who even allow us entry, once we just disclose to them, we are coming for your second test or your third test, they refuse the samples to be taken. They refuse us entry.
This must be a Herculean task. So how are you intending to manage it?
Our next step now is to engage the assemblymen because they are in the community with them, and also do a more education. Now they need to really appreciate that for now the only thing we can do is they need to accept the education. They need to open up for us to educate them. Fortunately, we have those who have recovered from the isolation centers who are now back home. So our next step is to use them as ambassadors to educate the others who are refusing us the treatment or the second test.
So how can we fix this problem to enable the health personnel work smoothly without threats? Joining me via Zoom is the head of institutional care at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Samuel Kaba Akoria. Doc, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
And your listeners.
All right. So let me also to you, those of you who are watching at home, that I want to hear from you if you have any such experience, if you have been a part of the contact tracers or work in the front line or has come into contact with any of these persons and has heard these threats. I want to hear from you. So Dr. Kaba, I just wanted to find out from you, first of all, how widespread is this problem that the contact tracers are describing to us today?
All right. We are very worried with this daily occurrence, not only because of the safety of our workers, but the safety of the community as well. Confirmed cases staying with their families in the community, with their friends, with their loved ones, their brothers and relatives. And what it means is that if any of them are listening to me, is that please, if you really love your friends, your relatives, kindly cooperate. The best love to them is to protect them by cooperating. And the best protection of the community is for all sectors of the community to also cooperate with us. We are sincerely pleading for this assistance. COVID is everybody's business. And the only way we can get out of this and fast is community support. This is not the first time and I know we'll still be having some challenges. A lot of people still don't believe that COVID is real, but you don't need to lose your loved one before you agree that it's real. You don't need a friend's friends to die before you say, oh, COVID is real, or you yourself don't need to be affected before you say COVID is real. We've seen the stories, we've seen people people telling us testimonies and all that. So it is time for us to really take this. We will do our best to use the community structures. We will do our best to use every little thing within our powers and to protect the health workers. But also, it's just not about the health workers alone. It is also about the community, because we don't want the community spread to keep escalating. And the only way to get this done is to call once again and plead with the community structures to actually assist us in getting people to get the right thing done.
I'm curious to find out how often the people who go out to do this work complain to you or complain to the institution about this problem.
Yeah, so we have different levels of approaching this. So we have different areas where this happens. We also have to recognize that some people have been very cooperative, but then we have other people who have not been that much cooperative. I can tell you that from the beginning, some of these things have been happening. And it's not only contact tracers, even our ambulance service personnel who are doing so good, they are working so hard. When they get into a community to evacuate patients, sometimes they don't even allow them. We've even changed some of the strategies not to go there with an ambulance with siren. We've changed some of the strategies, but some communities just don't cooperate. And it's something very worrying. And I think that what we'll do is to engage more with them. And places where we will need support from the security services, we will have to do that. But for now, we believe and plead with the community structures to work.
So are you saying that it's not time yet to involve the security personnel at the moment? Or
they've been, in some cases, they've already been involved. In fact, I have to praise national security. There's been instances that they've helped us to actually get to the patients. So they've already been involved. And we will engage them more. And they are actually giving us the best of support. And it's thanks to them that most of the things we've done, we've been able to get to where we are today.
How will this impact the general fight against COVID-19? I mean, the pace with which people have to work, all these blockades you're getting from the people who don't want to be tested twice, from people who don't want them to come to their homes. How will it impact our fight against coronavirus?
It has a very negative impact if we continue this trend. What we should understand is that government can do its best by providing contact tracers, by providing the means of actually doing the contact tracing. Even each test is quite expensive. The PPEs we use are very expensive. Government is doing its part in that. But one pillar, one important and very important pillar is the community engagement, community empowerment, and community ownership of this. where people living in the community should be able to come out and say, look, I have this person here, his A, B, and C should be. Because as I said, once the person is in the community and you don't get him out, he's actually spreading it within the community and he's giving it to his own family, he's giving it to his own friends. And then they will also move to the next level. Just imagine from the community, they go to the market. It just makes our job so difficult. As I said the other day, the best gift you can give to us is compliance, community to support us. And the best gift they can give to their family is also to agree and comply to what government puts in place and support us so that together we can get this far. Without community support, without community involvement, we will really have serious challenges in handling this in the quickest form.
I mean, here at Multimedia, we're doing our very best to support. I mean, on this program, for example, we have this segment that is just dedicated to persons who work at the front lines. How else do you think, for example, the media specifically can help in dealing with this particular problem?
As a matter of fact, every opportunity I get, I try to highlight and congratulate the media for the work being done so far, which has been off politics, off partisanship, off everything. The media has done fantastically well. But here's the point. We need to keep drumming. I usually say that for the regular human being, you have to say something 2, 3, 4 times before they understand it. Some even need to experience before they understand. That's what we don't want to happen. But for the genius, you might say it once and they will take it. So we've been doing it, but we need to keep drumming and keep drumming and keep drumming. And also be showing people some of these, our heroes who have recovered, and they are like ambassadors telling us that it is real. And also people who have actually suffered and have not recovered, for people to understand that it's real. Because of the high grade of asymptomatic we have, people don't take it serious. But there is one thing, if you look at the general mortality, and you even say that, okay, those beyond 61, you get about 14 to 15 of them, but the rest are below 60. And to me, anyone below 60 is still young. Even those 60 to 65 are still young. And there are things that we should consider and know that we can hurt our family without knowing we are hurting them. We can hurt people without knowing we are hurting them by giving them the disease, by saying that we don't believe in it. So the media should keep making efforts, just as they are doing, and together we'll move forward. So I'm very happy with the media, and I must congratulate you and everyone involved in this fight. As I say, COVID-19 is everybody's business, and the only way we can move together is to have this solidarity, put everything aside, have one unity, united front, and then move forward to curb this together.
My final question is whether, because of what you have just said, whether you think it's about time we begin to put faces to the statistics of the number of people who have been killed by coronavirus.
You see, there are a lot of things we can do, but we also have to look at how our society will accept it. Because we have societal, we have our own culture. But yes, it is time we have the faces who come voluntarily to say, look, I want to champion this. But it's also time we let people know that, look, people are actually dying. It's just not the figure we project that 10 deaths, 20 deaths, 30 deaths. These are human beings and they've lost their families. You can interview the family members. They'll tell you that, yes, we've lost this. But as I said, once again, we have our own cultural things, and we need to actually engage the people psychologically. And then if they willingly accept to come out to pronounce and give a certain testimony, it will be the most fantastic we can ever get to support this.
It's something that I've actually had on my mind for some time. Perhaps because when you take the case, and I said that was my final question, I'm not asking any question, I'm just ending our conversation, that people in Obuasi, for example, that my colleague spoke to, will tell you things like, well, we haven't seen anybody who is dead yet. Show us the people who are dead so we can take this seriously. Perhaps it's about time we begin to, not in a way of spiting the families, but getting these families to come out to talk to people about how they've lost their loved ones. So the work, I mean, the toll on people who are at the front lines working this out for us will not be threatened like it is at the moment. Do you have any final words?
I think that is a fantastic step we could be taking, and that will be something that, as I said, we engage them with some psychologists, we let them know. Because this fight is in a way that everybody has to come on board, and it's in a way that we actually have to engage everyone, and it counts. When people recount their own story, somebody might have lost a relative who is the caretaker of the house. It has a direct implication on his future. And when he explains, don't let that happen to your next neighbor. Don't let that happen to somebody else. And then we will all together do our best to handle this the best way we can.
Yeah, my producers are just giving me this heads up to this particular, also very important question about the packages that were announced for frontline workers. We've had some of them complain, especially those who bury the dead. When are those packages going to be distributed and how?
All right, so you heard the Minister of Health talk about it. All institutions are working on it, and at the appropriate time, the minister will come out to give the right pronouncements to that. Let's remember this. We are still in the middle of the outbreak. The person who today might be just in the hospital's name might not be in, but tomorrow might be part of it. So we need to be careful as to how we carve it, and we need to make it in a way that everybody will accept it. You know, we need to build consensus. So as the minister rightly said the last time, the heads of institutions are actually working on every little thing. And once the packages are in, it will surely come out, and the minister will come out to give the right information to everyone.
Is it to say that there aren't, at the moment, institutional arrangements that you are aware of?
Oh, no, there are. Look, you know, there is one thing we need to understand, and it has nothing to do with politics. It's worldwide. Once the president makes an announcement, it is for policy implementers to start checking how best that should be implemented. So right from day one, when he made the announcement, besides, you know, he does that in consultation with the policymakers. They advise him and say, look, let's do it this way. So before they even advise him, structures are put in place so that the best will come out. Now, a very good intention can sometimes be misinterpreted in the society or within the group of people it will be affecting. And that is exactly what we want to avoid, that a good intention will, at the end of the day, become something like, I didn't get it, why did you eliminate me? Why did I also worked at this time, I was also at high risk. So we actually working to make sure that everybody comes out of it. As I said, COVID is everybody's business, and everybody should come out of it satisfied in one way or the other. And that is what we are working on.
Dr. Kaba, thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and do send our regards to all the contact tracers, those who are doing this good work for all of us. Tell them that we think about them every day, and here on JoyNews every single day we say a big thanks to them. Dr. Kaba Akoria there.